All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly update with Diane and I. I hope you're not too taken aback by the fact that I look a little different, but you know, it'll grow back as I've been told. How are you doing, Diane?
I'm well.
Okay. Well, it's quite an exciting week. The DNC convention kicks off tomorrow, and they have a great first day. You know who they have speaking the first day? President Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton are the headliners for the first day.
Yikes.
What a way to
Gonna do
really
when everyone runs screaming out of the convention center. What's their traffic plan?
Yeah, they really inspiring confidence with that one, getting the people who are losers to kick off the convention. But yeah, it's going to be I think there's going to be mass demonstrations this entire week in Chicago. So it'll be exciting to see what actually comes out of it.
Yeah, and they finally got permits. They had to
Oh,
go. Yep. It's in EIR.news. They just won the case yesterday. So they had been denied everything. They'd only been denied. The city council only agreed to give them a permit in the park. Then they went to court. The judge happily said the First Amendment is very important. So then they got everything they were asking for: a stage, sound, porta-johns. So they're all set for a
all right.
time out there. And I'm sure there'll be FBI agents trying to provoke nonsense, but it's really important. Bloomberg reported today that Gaza is under 42 million tons of rubble. It's
Wow.
horrible. And then I saw that Khaleesi had posted a UN video of a truck driving through, and it's in northern Gaza, actually Gaza City. You can't see there's not a single building that's standing or undamaged. There's some where 2/3 of the building might remain, but only the bottom 3 stories. And it gives you a sense of why the British medical journal Lancet estimates 186,000 dead.
Wow. That's horrible, and that's exactly the pretext at which the people who want to protest a convention are meeting at. In Chicago is going to be it's a big convergence point, and I'm very curious to see how the protesters actually bring this to the DNC. Will we see interventions? I don't know, but something also that's important to note here is that Iran still has not stricken back at Israel, and I think today makes 2 weeks or 15 days since the assassination on Hania, and the Iranians have not striked back yet. Now, I don't want to make any claims here that they're not going to or they will, but I spoke with Ray McGovern today, who estimated that the chances of American boots on the ground in the region at 40% before Labor Day. That's what he told me. And somebody else I spoke with gave me a different view and said that they thought maybe it'll be like a serious situation when Iran strikes back, that it'll be more as if we're giving them, airstrike support and how we handled Syria. But the point is that there has been a surprise from a lot of Western nations that there has not been a retaliation yet. And I went on RT, and I'm going to take credit for there not being a strike back. I'm just kidding. But I went on RT the day after there were unconfirmed reports that Putin had delivered a letter to the president of Iran asking him not to strike back and that he would mediate personally between Israel and Iran. And I said on RT, I don't know if this is true, but I hope it's true. And that I was rallying the people in the Bronx to make it true if it wasn't true. Yeah.
Well, I think, the question is, how much are people going to take? And the situation in Kursk just indicates the insanity of the West and the NATO leaders and the desperation to get a great photo op. But I wanted to report that you have complete insanity. I mean, I don't know, maybe everyone who lived through World War II is dead. I think there's very few World War II veterans left alive. But in case people don't know, Montague Norman of the Bank of England, Brown Brothers Harriman, Prescott Bush scraped Adolf Hitler off the floor and helped the Nazi party to take power in Germany. And then when the Nazis took power, they started actually a war with London. They were bombing London. And in 1939, they invaded Poland. And in 1941, launched Operation Barbarossa, which the Russians remember very well. I think it was June 22nd or something. 27 million lives were lost in the Soviet Union. 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis. So when I was growing up, I actually thought this was a bad thing. And it seemed to me most people thought it was a bad thing. People read the Diary of Anne Frank. They thought about the horrors of fascism. Nowadays, the United States voted against a resolution at the United Nations to condemn the glorification of Nazism. We are funding Ukrainian Nazis. The prisoners that have been captured by the Russians have these neat little swastikas on tattoos and paintings of Hitler. And there was an article a year ago in the New York Times, I think, where AP or Reuters or someone admitted that when they take photographs of the Ukrainian troops, they ask them, could you please put your sleeve down so we can't see? Please hide the swastika. So now we have this plan. I want to just try and show this because it really is quite something. This is an English translation. Can you see it, by the way?
No, you have to hit present and then share screen.
But I think I did something wrong here. Let me come back here. Let me try it again. Oh, okay, here we go.
There we go.
Okay, so look at this, and this is an EIR again. Operational Plan Germany, Commander foresees transiting 800,000 NATO troops eastward. Does anyone remember? This didn't work out that well. It didn't work for Napoleon, and it didn't work for Hitler ultimately, although an awful lot of people died. In the context of the Operational Plan Germany, which the German Defense Ministry has worked on since March of 2023, one of the alarming details, which the commander of the Hamburg Military District, Colonel Michael Giss, revealed in an interview yesterday, quote, if we really have to demonstrate a credible deterrent on NATO's eastern border, then you just can't play it out in 2 weeks. Then life in Central Europe will change diametrically. That means, for example, transferring 800,000 soldiers, including equipment, through Europe to the east in 2 months, organizing transports of the wounded and prisoners of war, and also a large number of refugees from the Baltic states or Poland on a scale that dwarfs anything we have ever seen before. Now, I don't know if this guy is calling for this or he's just saying, look, if you crazy people want to do this, here's what you're talking about. But there does seem to be an operational plan. This does seem to be what they're saying. Obviously, this is over the top nuts. And I know Helga Zepp-LaRouche in the International Peace Coalition call on Friday asked Scott Ritter and Ray McGovern to join her to do all they could to get the German people to stand up against this insanity. So we in the United States have a huge job to do, but the people of Germany do as well.
Absolutely. And, just something to kind of add to this as well, to the insanity here in the United States, The Intercept had actually released leaked messages from a WhatsApp group chat called Jews for Richie Torres. And in it, one of the top donors to Richie Torres' campaign said in this group chat that it is sad, but we must support the neo-Nazis, i.e. Ukrainian Nazis, on a presidential level, that we have to support Ukraine on a presidential level because they are less evil than the radical Islamic terrorist element. These are Jews for Richie Torres saying we must support the Nazism in Ukraine on a presidential level because it's better than supporting the radical Islamic terrorists.
Now, meanwhile, the IDF and the Azov battalion take to filming their war crimes. They're so proud of it. And I forget what I wanted to say about this. Oh, I know. The IDF, it turns out there was an article in Haaretz in January, I think it was 2001, January 25th, 2001, where an IDF soldier admitted that they are using Nazi documents, including the journals of General Stroop, the guy who cleaned out the Warsaw Ghetto. And in the Warsaw Ghetto, this is where they produced the ammunition for the Nazis, and it was all Jews. So they were armed. So they decided to fight back, and they launched a heroic resistance. And then the Nazis came in, flooded all the basements, so General Stroop wrote a combat manual for how to do this, how to capture them, ship them to the concentration camps, and otherwise annihilate all of them. And that is a training manual for the IDF. So for people who think that there is a similarity between what we have in Ukraine and what we see going on in Gaza, I mean, the perpetrators of Ukraine and the perpetrators in Israel and the genocide occurring in Gaza, there's a good reason for that. So I am actually looking forward to a shift in the United States. I don't think people want to put up with it anymore. I think, but we have to make sure that they have in mind a positive program. You can't just say, well, no to war. The question is, what is the mission of mankind? How do you create a world 50 years from now where your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren are going to live better, longer, happier lives than we do?
Absolutely. Exactly, Diane. I wholeheartedly endorse that.
Well, thank God. That's why I'm supporting you for Congress. No, I can't vote for you.
Yes, well, I'm considering supporting you, Diane, so we'll see.
You better endorse me.
Okay. All right, Diane, I think we should call it here. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, like as usual, we don't have an end card, so I'm just going to hit end stream. Thanks, everyone.